I wish I could recommend these books for every single question. Hey guys, it's Kira. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we are doing the book recommendation tag. If you have not heard of this trend kind of thing going around, I think it was started by Steph, but she basically just had a bunch of questions and then she gave recommendations for those set questions. And I know I'm so late to this, like I swear everybody's already done it. Better late than never. So I've thought about the questions, I've pulled together all the books that I think personally best answer those questions, and I'm just going to be giving you a bunch of book recommendations. So I tried not to have books that repeat, but I think I do have some that repeat, which is fine. Make sure to follow all my socials down below, like, comment, and subscribe, and let's just get right into it because it's probably going to take me a while. But I will try to put all the questions in the description down below if you want to try this tag. The first question is a book that you tell people is your favorite, and I have two answers for this question because I just couldn't help myself. Twisted Games. I literally will die for this book. Like, I tell people this is my favorite book all the time. This is the second book in the Twisted series by Anna Huang. This is about Bridget and Reese, and it's like a forbidden romance about a bodyguard and a princess. Oh my god. When I tell you I just pick up this book and flip to different quotes, that is what I do. I literally am in love, and I will never stop raving about this book. I just think Reese is so hot. I mean, let's be honest. I just love their relationship. Like, hers just like feels the most genuine to me. Reese always just treated her so well. This is definitely a book that I tell people is my favorite. The other book that I tell people is my favorite is more of a new one. I read this last month and literally became absolutely obsessed with it. It's Lotus by Jennifer Hartman. This is basically about Sydney and Oliver. Oliver was kidnapped when he was a child and eventually ends up escaping and kind of has to readapt to the world, and Sydney was his childhood best friend, and she's there also along with his stepbrother to kind of help him through it. Their relationship was just, oh my god, like the cutest thing ever, like so pure, and I love Oliver so much. There's also a mystery aspect to this book, which I did not see coming. Check trigger warnings for all of these books that I talk about. These are my two all-time favorite books. Right, question number 2 is a book that you say is like your guilty pleasure, and honestly, I really thought about this question and was like, I literally have no idea. I'm gonna have to go with 'Tis the Season for Revenge by Morgan Elizabeth, and I can't even tell you why. There's just something about this book that, like, it's such my guilty pleasure. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. This is about Abby and Damien. She just tried to be like this perfect girlfriend because she like saw a future with him. I think he's in law, I think he's in law. All of a sudden just like breaks up with her and is like, no, like I don't want to be with you anymore, and she's devastated. So she goes on a dating app and eventually finds his boss and was like, wouldn't it be funny if I started dating his boss? I think my guilty pleasure in this book is Damien, the boss. Like, there is just something about him. I'm kind of embarrassed about it. I don't know, it's just my guilty pleasure, and I think my guilty pleasure is Damien. I'm really embarrassed, and we're just gonna move on. The next question, question number 3, is a book that everyone loved, but you didn't. Some of y'all are gonna be real mad at me right now. Again, everybody has their own opinions, so this is just how I feel about this specific book. It's One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So, like, this was my first Taylor Jenkins Reid book, and I just don't think writing style is necessarily for me. This is kind of like a love triangle thing. If you know what the book is about, it's about, I forget the main girl character's name. Lost her husband in a plane accident, like his plane went missing. All these years later, she's with this guy named Sam, and I think they're engaged. All of a sudden, she gets a phone call from her supposedly husband who died in a plane crash or went missing and was never found. Now she's stuck in this thing where it's like he used to be her husband, but now she's like with this other guy. I was so just frustrated, and I get it because like this is her husband. Her husband, she thought she was dead. Like now she's like all these feelings and questions and stuff. Like I see it because it's like a beautiful story. In the end, it wasn't for me. So question number 4 is a book that I read the fastest, and honestly, overall, I'm a very fast reader. One that comes to mind specifically is The DoOver by Lynn Painter, which is a book centered around Valentine's Day and Groundhog Day situation where day just keeps repeating, and it's a YA book. I just remember flying through this book. Like, it was so easy to read. Like, I could have probably finished this book in a few hours. One of the fastest books I've ever read in like one sitting was The DoOver. So next up, question number 5 is a book that deserves more hype, and honestly, I've actually seen this book get like a little bit more hype over like the past month and a half or so, but it's The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I actually talked about this book in all my 5-star reads, which I'll link up there if you want to go watch that. I read it and became absolutely obsessed with it. This is like a reverse Bodyguard type situation. One of us is famous type thing. Jack is kind of like this famous actor, and he's kind of off the grid a little bit. He has a stalker, so Hannah actually ends up becoming his bodyguard. But the ending just threw me completely off guard. It was just incredible. So if you have not heard of this book, go read it because I think it deserves the hype 100%. All right, question number 6 is a book that is becoming a movie/TV show. And I think like last week or something, this author announced that I think it's becoming a movie. This is one of my favorite books of all time, and I was super excited. It's Book Lovers by Emily Henry. And yes, guys, if you did not hear, I think this is becoming a movie. About Nora and Charlie, they're kind of like academic rivals. She's a literary agent, and I think he is like an editor or something, or does something like related to writing. If you want like a book that's not so much romance heavy, it still has romance, but there's more of like a literary aspect to it, definitely read this book or any book by Emily Henry. Oh my god, I actually literally cannot wait. We are halfway there, people. Question number 7 is a book that I've reread the most, and honestly, I haven't really reread a lot of books. I have 2 books that I've reread twice, so I kind of put them in together. The first one is The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams, which is a like best friends to lovers. He's a football player and she's like a ballerina. There's fake dating. No spice in this book, which I actually didn't mind. It's super short. I ended up really loving this. I liked the fake dating. I love Nathan's teammates. Everything about this was just so good. Like, obviously I reread it, so. Other book that I've reread twice is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, which is a like woman in STEM type book, fake dating again. He's a student and I think he's a professor. It's so good. Ali Hazelwood's writing is just so easy to get into, easy to get through. And these are just 2 books that I've reread twice. Want to read any of these, I definitely recommend them. Question number 8 is a book from a genre that you don't usually read from. The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. This is a mystery thriller. It was my first mystery thriller book and I really, really enjoyed it. I read it for a video last month, which was trying books out of my comfort zone or something. I'll link it up there if you want to watch it. About this girl who gets a job as a housemaid for the Winchesters, and the wife is just acting like really weirdly. It's just like this whole like mystery aspect of why the wife acts the way she does. It was insane. Like, I did not see the plot twist coming at all. Yeah, I really recommend this book if you want to get into mystery thrillers. Like the only other book I've read other than romance. So, ooh, I cannot wait to talk about this one. Question number 9 is a book that deserves all the hype it gets. This book I also did a reading vlog on a couple months ago. Link it up there if you want to just give it a watch. Is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. Read this book right now because I know you've heard it. I know you've heard about this book because it's so hyped up. This is a figure skater, ice hockey player romance. She's grumpy, he's sunshine. Very spicy, college, found family, a lot of things in here. It is a bit long, which I think is like the only downside of all the mental health representations in this book, especially her self-growth. It really does deserve all the hype. The Eye of the Tiger. Number 10 is a book that you usually recommend when asked giving a recommendation. I have 2 books for this question. The first book is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. It is like childhood, strangers to lovers. It's written in a like past and present timeline, but Macy and Elliot, they were childhood best friends. Macy's parents or dad bought a house right next to his. They both liked reading and stuff and would always ask like what their favorite words were. The relationship was just so cute. I was rooting for them the whole time. You slowly learn why they lost touch, and I literally was bawling my eyes out. This is definitely one of the books I recommend when people ask me for a recommendation. It's Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This is like the most beautiful love story ever. I love Bree. I love Archer. I love their relationship. To this small town to kind of get away from things. Where she literally bumps into Archer and is like, oh, I'm so sorry. And he's just like staring at her weirdly. And she's like, okay, that's weird. So she's like asking around and people are like, oh, like he just like doesn't talk to people. The end made me sob. If you have not read this book yet, you absolutely have to. Yes, these are just 2 very beautiful love stories that I think everybody should read if they have not already. Question number 11 is a book that has your favorite characters. Next books are repeats because I just, again, love these books and love the characters. Again, twist games. I love Bridget. I love Reese. I love their relationship. They are the cutest. Read it because you're missing out on Reese and Bridget. Again, Lotus. I love Sydney and I love Oliver. Love their relationship. Soulmates. Forever. Get it back. Archer's Voice, like I just said. I love Archer and Bree. Love them individually. Love them together even more. All of my babies. All of my babies. Question number 12 is a book that you wish you could live in. I ended up just picking a whole universe. I picked the Off-Campus series. This was just such a good series. A good hockey romance series. Love the found family aspect of it. Again, my favorite book out of all of them is obviously The Deal. I just want to live in the Briar University off-campus world. Like, everything about this I love. Definitely recommend if you want a hockey romance series and you have not read the Off-Campus series. Definitely give it a try. Next up is a book you thought that you were going to hate but ended up loving. But it's The Goal by Elle Kennedy, which is the 4th book in the Off-Campus series. I know I literally just talked about this, but if you don't know, is accidental pregnancy, which I absolutely hate that trope. That and like secret baby trope, like it's not my favorite. I just loved Tucker throughout this whole like universe. Like he was probably one of my favorites other than Garrett Graham. I don't know, he just made this book so good. He's an underrated off-campus man. About Tucker and Sabrina and like hook up one night and then she accidentally gets pregnant and it's like them going through that. The fact that just Tucker, like every time she pushed him away, was always coming back and was like, I'm not leaving you. Like, this man was committed. Thought I was gonna hate this book because I don't like accidental pregnancy, and it was probably, arguably, one of my favorite accidental pregnancy books out there. Number 14 is a book that made you cry, and honestly, there was a lot of books that made me cry. Let's see. Obviously, Archer's Voice. Like, I was absolutely sobbing. Love in Other Words. Lotus by Jennifer Hartman. Things We Never Got Over. Hold on. Things We Never Got Over Made Me Cry. There are a lot of books I could recommend, or not even recommend, say made me cry. So the last and final question is a book that you wish you could read for the first time. I, again, could probably talk about most of these books. Shadow Me by Tahara Mafi, which is the first book in the Shadow Me series. I read this last month, did a reading vlog, if you want to check that out. I don't even, like, know what to say. Like, still not over it. This first book was so good. It's YA, it's really easy to get through. Overall, I just wish I could read this first book again. Like, feel how I felt when I first finished this book, because I will never get over the feelings I had after finishing it. It was so incredible. So that is it for this video. I've been filming for like 50 minutes now, talking about all these books. I hope you found some books that maybe you haven't read yet and are interested in reading. I love watching these to find new book recommendations. Make sure to follow all my socials down below, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!